Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Ukraine ready for special round of negotiations as fresh attempt to evacuate thousands from Mariupol fail. Ukraine has signaled it is ready to hold a special round of negotiations with Russia in the besieged port city of Mariupol. That is despite accusing Russia of not taking talk seriously and hours after efforts to open an evacuation corridor for civilians trapped in the port city failed. Senior Ukrainian negotiators on Wednesday offered to hold special talks with Russia in Mariupol, without conditions, in a bid to evacuate troops and civilians from the besieged city. Negotiator Mikhailo Podolyak tweeted on Wednesday that the talks could be one-on-one, two-on-two, to save our guys, the far-right Azov battalion, military, civilians, children, the living and the wounded. Also on Wednesday, local time, Ukraine accused Russian forces of failing to observe a local ceasefire agreement long enough to allow large numbers of women, children and elderly people to flee the city, which has been largely pounded to rubble by Russian forces. The remaining fighters who are holed up in a vast steel works have ignored an ultimatum by Russia to surrender. David Arakhamaya, a second negotiator, said in an online post that he and Mr. Podolyak were in constant contact with Ukrainian forces in the city. Today, in a conversation with the city defenders, a proposal was put forward to hold direct negotiations, on site, on the evacuation of our military garrison, he said. For our part, we are ready to arrive for such negotiations at any time, as soon as we receive confirmation from the Russian side. Russia not playing ball, says Ukraine with the potentially pivotal offensive underway. Russia said it has presented Ukraine with a draft document outlining its demands as part of talks aimed at ending the conflict, days after Russian President Vladimir Putin said the negotiations were at a dead end. The ball is in their court. We're waiting for a response, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said. However, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has denied receiving any such draft document, accusing Russia of not taking talk seriously. I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't seen anything. I am sure that we were not handed anything, Mr. Zelensky said. As for the ball is in their court, I have been playing football pretty well in peacetime. What are the rules? There must be two teams and a ball. Here it seems that Peskov is playing with himself. But these serious issues can't be played. It must be treated very seriously. That is why we will definitely show how we are punching the ball as soon as we are given the ball. Moscow has long demanded, among other things, that Ukraine drop any bid to join NATO. Ukraine has said it would agree to that in return for security guarantees from a number of other countries. Humanitarian corridor did not work as planned. Regional Governor Pavlo Kyrylenko said fewer buses than planned were able to reach the city of Mariupol and fewer people than hoped were evacuated. Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk said the humanitarian corridor did not work as planned today. Due to the lack of control over their own military at the place, the occupiers were unable to ensure a proper ceasefire, she wrote on Facebook. Also, due to their own disorganization and negligence, the occupiers could not provide the timely transport of people to the meeting point where dozens of our buses and ambulances were waiting. A few dozen civilians managed to leave the strategically important southeastern port in a small bus convoy, according to Reuters witnesses, escaping the fiercest battle of the nearly 8 weeks-long war. More than 100,000 people are believed trapped in Mariupol, which had a pre-war population of more than 400,000. Mariupol Mayor Vadim Boychenko urged residents to leave, although previous such agreements have fallen apart, with the Russians shelling escape routes or otherwise preventing buses meant to pick up evacuees from entering the city. Do not be frightened and evacuate to Zaporizhzhia, where you can receive all the help you need, food, medicine, essentials, and the main thing is that you will be in safety, the mayor said in a statement. As Vostok Steelworks holds last pocket of resistance in Mariupol, Ukrainian troops said the Russian military dropped heavy bombs to flatten what was left of the sprawling Azovstal steel plant, believed to hold the last pocket of resistance in Mariupol, and hit a makeshift hospital where hundreds were said to be sheltering. The reports could not be independently confirmed. Russia denies intentionally targeting civilians. Read more. A few thousand Ukrainian troops, by the Russians' estimate, remained in the steel plant. The Russian side issued a new ultimatum to the defenders to surrender on Wednesday, but the Ukrainians have ignored previous demands to leave the plant as labyrinth of tunnels and